Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we watched Without a Paddle. I'd definitely seen this before at some point, but I remembered fuck all about it.
Yes, I remembered a lot of this film. I went round my friend's house when I was younger, and every single time I went round his house, we watched this film.
Oh, it's one of those ones.
This film, Robots, or the fish film, and I can't remember the...
Shark Tale?
Shark Tale.
Nice.
That was it. That's all we watched. Or Aeon
He likes
Flux.
wet films.
We also watched Aeon Flux,
Okay.
which is bizarre.
Bit of a outlier.
Yeah, that was the one that I picked, but that makes sense.
I remember watching this on Film 4 and not being able to watch like the second half until it like came back onto Film 4.
Nice. You were just like, I wonder how this film ends.
Well, yeah, yeah. I thought it was really good when I was young, and I think that is maybe yeah. I remember it really fondly. I then watched it. Gosh, must have been a few years ago now. Oh god, no, I don't want it to be that long ago. 10 years ago. No.
Yeah, it's
Well,
what
it's
this
still long
pod-
enough to be applicable for the show.
That's what this
Well, last time I
podcast
watched it
is
was about
about.
10 years ago, and I thought it was awful.
Mhm.
And I was watching it with someone who was quite woke.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, I don't know, like, is aggressively woke the right kind of term? So, this film is not good in lots of very 2004 ways.
Oh yeah. This film is 100% a product of its time. It's not good, but also.
So that's why I thought it'd be interesting, because I was like, will I hate it as much as I did then, or was that because of the time in my life where I was at, where I was like, absolutely no separation of art and artist and time and space and all of that? Because as an adult, I feel like it's slightly more complicated than that sometimes.
Mm.
Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I say I didn't really remember anything from this, to be honest. Like, I know I've watched it and I had even completely forgotten the main plot of these three guys are trying to find DB Cooper's treasure because their mate.
Oh yeah, and I now
dies.
know about DB Cooper because I've listened to the Do Go On
I
episode
love
about
the
DB
story of
Cooper.
It's great. I love that this film is essentially men would rather go on an adventure to a jungle in the middle of nowhere in the hopes of finding a possible terrorist's hidden treasure whilst coming across a bunch of ne'er-do-wells and drug dealers instead of going to therapy.
Yeah.
That's the
Why
thing is,
grieve when
the
you can go on a
tagline was a
boat?
bit long when they had that. So.
Yeah. They got an adventure to learn about themselves instead of just fucking going to therapy.
Just talking about their feelings. So the tagline actually is worse than that. I've got the movie poster up right now. One of several, but this one
Is it really
the
long?
Call, it's quite long.
Nice.
The Call of the Wild, the Thrill of Adventure, the Mistake of a Lifetime, Without a Paddle.
That's got nothing to do with the film.
No.
The only thing that's right in there is the call to an adventure, which applies to every fucking film.
And, like, when I was trying to find this film as well, the first thing I found was accidentally the sequel, which is called Without a Paddle, Call of the Wild. I didn't watch
Isn't it
that
Nature's
one.
Calling?
Nature's Calling, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So
No,
what's
I don't think
How
anyone's
do you-
seen that.
How do you make Without a Paddle? Is it the same actors?
No, there's
No.
not.
Okay,
there's
good.
not even
Okay.
a single crew member apparently that
Yeah.
I would have
shares
been
credits with.
I would have been disappointed in Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, because the cast in this is the three main characters are Tom, which is Dax Shepard, Jerry is Matthew Lillard, and Dan is Seth Green, and their mate Billy, who's fucking Homelander.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize he was in this.
Yeah.
He's
and
not
then he
for long. He
fucking
dies.
yeah, he's in this.
Yeah.
He's in this as a child, mostly.
He's in this as a child, and then he drives off in a car in one scene
And dies.
Not in the car, I don't
No,
think.
no, not immediately. He
No.
lives a bit. They all get on with 10 years later. That's why. Oh man, this film. This film is like probably one of the most 2000 films I've ever seen. Like, it's incredibly. It's it's so hyperlinear that it's like they
Yeah.
go on the sad. To also be fair, they don't really make films like this where it's like as straightforward as a bunch of people have a sad moment and then decide to go on an adventure to learn about themselves. It's never that direct anymore.
No.
No.
Especially when they're like the setup and when they're talking about themselves at the beginning before they go on the adventure. It's literally like listing the problems that are going to be fixed on the adventure.
Yeah. Oh no, the storyboard for this was a toilet roll.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, should anyone have any like unique character, personal? No, it's all.
Oh
very
no,
linear.
they've all got their very much 2004 unique character traits of
Yeah, the
nerd.
nerd. Yep.
Back when being into technology was nerdy, which is just mwah,
Yeah.
beautiful 2004
The
era.
most 2004 thing in this is just, I've got a brand new cell phone. It costs me so
Yeah.
much money. It's just like a flip phone.
It's a satellite phone,
Yeah.
which, to be
Satellite phone,
fair,
which is
they're
kinda
still
cool.
expensive. Yeah.
Hmm.
It
But
does.
they're all like digging into him about like being a nerd and being a doctor and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, like he's a doc. Leave him the fuck alone.
There's Doctor, there's Sleazebag, who is Tom.
Yeah.
And then Jerry is, because like the cat and the mouse. I don't know if that's on purpose. Is just
Probably not. I wouldn't give this film that much
No.
credit.
No, but he just doesn't. He doesn't think he wants
He
to
doesn't
have a family.
appreciate
He doesn't
his
like
life.
commitment. Yeah.
He doesn't appreciate the life he has.
No, he just wants to surf.
Yeah, he just wants to surf and be free. He doesn't appreciate what he has, and his girlfriend puts up with way too much. He's in a slump, and again, instead of going to therapy like a normal person would,
They wait till their mate dies.
their mate
And
dies,
then,
and fucking talk to someone, mate. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
Sit
So
down
they're like
and
their
have a
childhood
chat.
friends. They were a foursome, and you do get quite a sweet opening at the start. It's like them growing up together.
yeah, well, their relationship is actually like really good. Like how they're put together, like they are like the most archetypal people. But yeah, they're actually their relationship with each other is actually quite sweet.
But they just haven't talked to each other in ages because
Yeah.
they've all grown up, which is
Yeah,
that's what happens.
yeah. Sadly, unless you see the thing is, what they didn't do was make a podcast.
Yeah, they should have made a podcast about trying to find DB Cooper's trail.
Honestly, would have popped off.
So the only person who's emailed me, the only person who's messaged me today that isn't you guys or my vet,
Mm-hmm.
we've
We've discussed his
and
name is Miguel.
she's got hacked. It was a hacker. It was
Oh.
not my friend.
Did they say,
Oh,
hey,
that's so
found
sad.
DB Cooper's treasure? Send your bank
Follow-
details to me.
Follow map to arse end of nowhere. Oh man,
I
that's
wish.
great.
But no, unfortunately, sorry. She's been hacked. She sent me a link to my phone and wanted me to click on it.
And you said
Decided
no.
not to.
You're like, I'm not this desperate for interaction, thank you.
I mean, I did talk to them for a bit, just,
Have a back and
company?
forth with the hacker. Every
yeah.
single reply is, please click the link.
pretty much.
You seem really nice. Please click the link.
Damn, you seem like a really nice person. The link would really help you right now.
She asked me, to click on this link to vote for her for it to be an ambassador. I think it's the latest scam. And I was just like, "You okay?" And she was like, "Yes, of course." Kiss, kiss.
It's a bit of a
And then I was like, "What's the ambassadorship? Are you moving?"
That's a bit of a
She was
career
like, no,
change.
not real for an influencer program. Did you get the link? Copy and paste it to me, please. Okay. And I was like,
That is
did
like
I
a-
meet Jim recently? Who would you be an ambassador for? Anyway, when she told me eventually this, she was going to be. She replied for a clothing brand. I was like, "Oh, which one?" And she was like, "Zara." And I was like, "Oh, I can't vote. I can't support Zara. It's not an ethical brand." And then she stopped talking to me.
Turns out she wasn't even hacked. She said that because she was like not wanting Helena to judge her.
Or she was just being friendly, but like wanting you to vote for her, and then you're just too much effort to deal with her.
Just shitting on her dreams.
Yeah, she's so sorry. I imagine the hacker on the other end of the phone just getting really frustrated, and then you just the whole like it's not an ethical brand. I'm just going, you know what, fuck it. Have your phone back. Like we'll delete this number. This girl won't
I
stop
don't want to hack
texting
this girl.
us.
She doesn't have enough. There's
Yeah.
not going on in her life.
This girl won't stop texting us.
I don't
Oh,
know, I
man.
got hacked, and then they're like looking for contacts to try and dupe into sending me money or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah, it's not
God,
worth.
this person's so lonely. Shall we just
Imagine-
add some friends to her account and then give it back?
Imagine them like trying to find brands, them researching the ethics behind certain brands to try and get you to
Oh, what,
agree.
arguing back. Like, actually, no, Zara, look at their
Actually.
5-point plan.
Zara does a lot of good, actually. Sorry, I didn't mean Zara. I meant, and then like 10 minutes later.
Well, it just made me realise that it's probably an actual person and not a bot, because I like it when I get messages from bots, because you can just say anything and they just kind of
Break.
get on with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I had someone message me the other day and it was just like, I just kept on replying vegetables.
Mm. That'll get them. You'll ruin it for everyone else as well. Like, you'll ruin it for the bot and the people trying to cheat if you keep doing that. Because the bot will be like, they're not responding with vegetables. I learnt vegetables.
Vegetables is all I know.
Just
How's your
overload
Nigerian
the-
prince friend doing, Helena?
Oh, he's actually doing quite well.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
It's an unethical branding choice. He keeps making these really unethical branding choices.
Sorry, the only reason Helena isn't in charge of our Patreon money is she keeps sending it to this Nigerian prince.
He needs it. And then when he has the money to do the transfer, then we'll be raking it in.
Yeah, well, you keep texting him about it, and he never responds.
No, he doesn't need vegetables.
That's hilarious.
I also have a confession to make about watching this film.
Yeah.
I
you
think
not
I watched
like
this. I honestly I didn't mind it.
Yeah,
No, it was
right.
fine. Yeah, it was alright.
And well, no, I think the reason I didn't mind it is that I actually watched small amounts of this film.
Did you watch it in bits?
I did because my husband lost the bag I made for him the other day. He asked me to make him a
Okay.
new bag. I was like, okay, I can do two things at once. So I was making a bag while watching the film,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I was watching the film on my computer and my sewing machine in front of it. Whenever I pressed the pedal on the sewing machine, the screen went off. So I was watching this film, but I couldn't see it whenever I was actually sewing.
That's so fun. I mean, to be
And
fair,
I couldn't work out why. Like, everything was plugged in just fine.
you can just listen to this film. You don't need to see it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I feel like I still watched it.
Yeah.
Because that's why I carried on that, and, like, he was leaving for work today, and I wanted to make the bag for him before he left.
I imagine it was probably the rattling.
Jiggling. Yeah, definitely.
Jiggling
But
the
because
cable.
if I put the pedal down hard enough, like when I was doing long stretches, it would come back. But that's kind of the last point of time where you want to be looking away from the sewing machine, is like when
Yeah.
it's really going for it.
Yeah.
And also, I was recycling this fabric from a different project, so it was all cut out into like the wrong shape. So I had to like
Oh, you had to
I think
focus.
a
Yeah.
little bit.
That's that's
so I
fair.
feel like this film benefited a little bit from
No,
me
I-
not paying attention in like the worst way.
I don't think this film is that bad. I don't think it's not got good. It hasn't aged amazingly in terms of
it's
like.
got-
There's a lot of gay jokes.
There's a lot of gay jokes, and there's also there's very little female characters, very little women in this, and the ones that are don't really exist.
Yeah, the female characters in this are at best not really there, and at worst incredibly problematic.
Yeah, but it's very like it's very 2004. It's absolutely not the worst film that has this kind of that has aged like this. It's not the best, but it's nowhere near the worst of its time.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more kind of like oof moments, but
Yeah, it was
Like,
ugh.
Yeah, I was wondering
wasn't
if I
awful.
missed them, because I did miss large chunks of this film's
No,
visual gags. But I swear I remember there being more oof moments, but maybe I was just a little bit more oof trigger happy 10 years ago. I don't know.
It's not. There definitely isn't as many. Like, I guess it's we've fully desensitized ourselves. I think just on the virtue
True.
of doing this, we have desensitized ourselves to oof. We're aware of it, but it's just like you can't. Films come out when they come out, and you can't sit there and like you can analyze it, you can talk about it, but you can't sit there and like have it ruin you watching the rest of the film. Kind of like you can't.
I think this film fucks up in enough ways in its own time
Yeah,
that it's not great. And then the oof moment, the bits that haven't aged well, are second to the fact that it was never particularly
Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, this is a mid film. This is a
It's-
mid-level
it's-
film.
Yeah, and it's weird because the cast were kind of out there in their bit of a heyday almost, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a good time for
Because
the
it's
three main actors.
Shaggy.
Heyday for people that were never, as mean as this is to say, never like the biggest stars.
No,
like-
but like the exact cast you would expect in a movie like this.
Yeah, because you have a lot of really good, and they're quite funny, and they're quite good actors, but they were never like massive. They were always in big films, but B characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. More
Like-
but like TV
Yeah, which isn't-
TV to film rather than
Yeah.
straight to film.
Yeah, this isn't a problem. They're just like if they're in a big film, they're the B character, which is fine. Sometimes it's better to not be the main character in some films.
So it's Seth Green who just looks like a baby in this.
Oh, he looks so young.
Which is quite strange. I guess it does play into the fact that this is their very first experience of grief.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
the actual grief is really discussed at all.
At all? No, they're like 30, aren't they? I think they
Yeah.
say they're
Yeah.
about 30. Which I'm waiting for my... Have you ever... Hollywood sold this lie. Have either of you ever been on an adventure that completely changed your outlook on life equal to going to a couple sessions of therapy? Have either of you had that adventure in your life?
I mean, I've been to therapy.
Okay, it's not an adventure through the forest.
I mean, I did live in Russia for a year.
You did. But did you go on like a big life-changing adventure?
I had a mental breakdown.
In a good way?
No.
To be fair...
No, I wouldn't say it was a good mental breakdown. No, I think it was...
fair. Hollywood never says whether it would be good or bad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I'm 30 now. I'm nearly 31, but I've never been on a big adventure through the woods to learn that I should appreciate this podcast.
I feel like I
When I was at
sold
posh
that
boarding
lie.
school, we used to camp out in the woods a lot.
Did you have any life-changing adventures while you were out there?
My friend fell out of a tree and broke his ankle.
Okay, his life-changing. That changed his life. How did that change your life?
We found
Did you-
some shotgun cartridges one time.
Oh, fuck. Did you have a sudden appreciation for your own intact ankles?
Well, no, actually, that you say that backfired slightly because I broke
Did
my
he land
ankle.
on your ankles?
He broke his ankle really badly. Like, it was gross. It was like it didn't burst through the skin or anything, but his ankle
Right.
literally swelled up to the size of a rugby ball. Like,
Damn.
imagine like the biggest swelling you'd think an ankle could get to. It was bigger than that.
Damn, so really hard if you kicked
Running
it.
back, I'm sure I've told the story before, but running back to class after
Mm-hmm.
helping him get, you know, he had to go to, rather than getting an ambulance, the matron at school was just like, I'm going to drive him to hospital.
Yeah.
I tripped on the way back, running to try and get to form time on time, and I actually broke my ankle. But like the tiniest, in comparison, the gentlest, tiniest green stick, young bone fracture you can do.
Damn.
So of course
Final
no one believed
Destination.
me.
Yeah. No one's going to have sympathy for you in that situation.
Well, no, exactly. And then when I was like, I didn't really want to do any gym stuff because obviously it hurt,
Yeah.
and I was like, I've hurt my ankle. They were like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, sit over there
Anyway,
with
a few
Captain
days. I
One
think
Leg
it was
right
about a
now.
week later when I couldn't walk. My mum took me to A&E.
Ah.
And they were like, they gave me an X-ray, and they're like, "Yeah, you did break your ankle, but it's kind of already healing the way it is. So
Yeah.
you know,
We
carry
had this
on."
kid come in, like, like
So you want to see a
last
You don't want to see a real broken ankle.
week. Fuck, it was wild. We've honestly had all of our perceptions shifted since then.
I heard it break. That was pretty
Oof, life
horrible.
changing.
That's
yeah.
stuck with me.
Yeah, they never promise good life change. They just say life change. But I feel like I was lied to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, none of us really did the whole like traveling thing, did we? Where we
Who
like
could
went on a
afford that?
like backpack. We don't have to necessarily be super rich to go backpacking, but if you want
It
to have a
helps,
nice
though.
time, I think it helps
Yeah,
to
it
have
helps.
a bit of money. But that just never really appealed to me.
Yeah,
After
no,
my
me
year
neither.
abroad, I was like, no, I like going on away and traveling, but I don't want to live in another country.
Yeah, I feel like a
No.
holiday would be a lot nicer than. I mean, I guess
An
my
adventure.
adventure was moving here.
Yeah.
And
Oh
that was-
God, your adventure copy. I don't want to dox you. Moving to Kent, he said
Yeah.
unspecifically.
I
Yeah, it's
mean-
not really an adventure.
No, it's just moving house.
I met someone else today actually that had moved from Kent to Birmingham, and we both had similar feelings about where we grew up.
From
Yeah,
shithole
but
to
everyone
shithole.
has those feelings about where they grow up. I don't think it actually matters where you grow up. You're gonna hate it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I think I'd rather grow up in where I grew up than where you grew up, Dan.
Mhm.
But I think I probably still would have ended up in Birmingham.
Yeah, no, Coventry was fine, but like, no, I'm glad I made the move.
Nah, Coventry's all right.
Yeah, it's better than being stuck in the middle of the woods being attacked by a bear, I guess. Like in this movie.
I mean, anything is better than that, right?
Yeah.
Is that our scale of things now? Is attacked by a bear?
I was gonna say, like, getting hit by a car was pretty rough for my, in those
Yeah.
things that altered my brain chemistry kind of things.
Yeah.
That was
Suppose
not
that is
good.
equivalent to being hit by a bear. Yeah.
To be fair, once a car hits you once, it's very unlikely it'll continue to attack you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Thankfully, it was a
It's-
one and done.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the color of the car.
You didn't curl up into a. You didn't have to curl up into a. What's it called? Fetal position to get it to
Yeah.
stop attacking you.
So
No.
yeah, that was weird. So they just their friends died. It leaves them a map. Or rather, they go back to his house and find a map in his room.
No, they go to their
Oh,
hideout in the tree.
their
It's a
hideout.
tree house, yeah. And
Yeah,
they
where
were
they're
always
like-
obsessed with DB Cooper's treasure as kids. And
Which
it
is
turned out
really
that-
sweet. That is
Yeah.
genuinely quite nice. Of oh, they have something.
Having the
Yeah.
context of DB Cooper actually helps because
Oh yeah, they
growing
never
up,
explain
in
who
the
that is.
UK. That is not like a well-known thing.
No,
No,
So
definitely
it
not.
went over my head the last two times I watched it. No idea who DB Cooper was. Had no
Yeah.
idea that DB Cooper. I remember it being a treasure hunt. I had no idea it was DB Cooper because I think in my head I'd imagined that it was fake.
Yeah.
Because it sounds a bit
That's the
fake. It
film.
sounds a bit made up.
It's so and they don't even try to explain who he is.
Well, they rely, I think, on the myth and the sort of, I guess, legend that is DB Cooper. Where it's like this man
Was
parachuted with loads of money
In
that he
the
got
early
off a plane.
in the early 2000s was DB Cooper like a big thing in America? Was it like in the social consciousness at the time? Because it happened they talk about it like it happened years and years and it happened in the 70s. It's not that long ago.
Yeah, I suppose I don't know.
Was it?
Oh, bloody hell. It has the biggest Wikipedia page.
Yeah, there's a lot about him. But I can't see why you'd pick that as your call to adventure unless it was a thing that was at least kind of in the consciousness.
I suppose it's just, I guess,
An excuse.
More
It's
points
just
for
an
these
excuse.
specific characters.
And he had money, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, so they find the note because apparently he's between adventurers hunting down ghosts. He's
Yeah, Billy essentially spent his whole life. Like he was going on adventures and skiing and skydiving and stuff. Like he was preparing because he was trying to work out exactly where the treasure would be.
he was trying to
And so
find
he's
DB
done-
Cooper.
Like a real detailed map and stuff like that. And
They
So
really
they're
don't seem to appreciate our friend died in a horrific extreme
Yeah.
weather, extreme sport accident.
Yeah, they get over it.
Let's
real
go do
quick.
an extreme sport.
Yeah, let's go canoeing.
I'd say to be fair to them, they don't get over it quickly. They spend an entire movie avoiding talking about their problems. They go on a
Yeah.
big adventure to avoid talking about their emotions.
But I feel like what lets this film down is that you could remove the death entirely.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
could
yeah,
have just, the
100%.
three of them, gone back for any other reason.
Yeah, 100%.
School reunion, or whatever.
I guess
Marriage, wedding, and they find this map and they're like, oh shit, let's do it.
Oh, there's definitely other reasons, but I guess there isn't as many reasons that are that concrete where you're like, we have to go on this adventure because it's in his name.
Yeah, and I suppose him dying is also what makes them, I suppose, in the end, actually appreciate their life more as well.
Yeah, there is this sort of it is quite good that it is
Well,
a
I'm
death.
not sure it's him dying that makes them appreciate it, or them nearly
No,
dying.
it's the adventure. It's the
Yeah,
adventure
yeah.
that we were promised.
I don't want that adventure. I don't
They-
want to get eaten by a bear.
They could. I want to appreciate my life more. They could have. I mean, they could have very easily.
I mean, that would be good, actually. Yeah, I can
had
do with that.
the death be a bit more of an impact,
Yeah.
and them have a bit more of a think about, because it is literally, we found this box. Oh, he's made a map. we should do it, and it's like, then they're just like, okay, let's go.
They just kind of bully each other into doing it.
Yeah.
Well, the two of them are like really want to do it, and the doctor's like, nah, no, obviously gets talked into it. There could have been a bit more there where it's like they do go, oh, but it's for him. If they really made it for him, sure. There are bits it kind of forgets halfway through why they're on.
That's
the
what I was
adventure.
thinking. It's like it starts like the reasoning is fine at the start. It's like we've got to do this for him. But
Yeah.
it just so doesn't become about him. Like, they're not really sharing loads of stories about him. They're not, like, this isn't a movie about grief.
No. It uses
which is
grief
very
as a
weird for
plot
one that's
point.
like, yeah.
It uses grief as a driving force at the beginning and then just kind of forgets about it.
Yeah, because, like, grief is kind of sad, and this film really, really wants to be a comedy.
Yeah.
And it is a
approaches
comedy,
it
in a
every now
way.
and then.
Sometimes it even manages to be funny.
But yeah, they definitely could have had them talking about more stories and maybe even things that they'd done individually as friends
Yeah.
with the guy that died, and like, oh wow,
Yeah, explored the individual relationships they had with him.
yeah,
Oh, do you remember that time when? Oh no, I wasn't there. Oh yeah, one time it was just me and him, and we did this instead. And it's like,
that would have been so good because the reason that they'd never gone on this before was because they'd never all been together.
yeah,
Them sharing stories of when they would have been, but like one of them was always missing, would have been fucking
Yeah.
ace. Like that would have been great. But no, they didn't do that.
and like some sort of promise that they're gonna always meet up again or something. Like make it sort of like a
Yeah.
resolve of like they need to appreciate they'd sort of lost track of their friendship and they stopped guiding each other.
Yeah, which is kind of what you'd think would be the point of this film, but it's really not.
No, it's more like, haha, actually, we're kind of being dicks to our girlfriends. Better go. Or I'm too much of a wimp to ask girls out.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, and their individual lives are terrible. But at no point are they like, oh yeah, maybe if because we have no friends properly, maybe if we talk to each other more, we could have dealt with these problems. But they don't
Yeah.
solve each other's problems. They all kind of have their own individual epiphanies.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, if they'd have like solved and talked to each other, fine, that would have been great. But they don't.
I also feel like they're too old to be doing this.
Yes, 30 is too old to be going on adventure. My back is killing me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
my
feel I
knees,
definitely
man.
couldn't go on. Like, I'd go to get in the canoe and be like, nah,
Nah, it's wet.
eh.
Yeah. If they were like,
And I get that they kind of it all goes wrong quite quickly and they're basically stranded. So they
Yeah.
obviously none of them are any good. Everyone warns them, is like, look, you guys do not sound prepared. You're probably gonna die if you don't get your shit together.
yeah,
They promptly do not get their shit together
Yeah, because they're
and end
arrogant,
up
'cause
stranded.
They've never dealt with an actual real problem like this before.
Yeah.
So yeah,
They-
they're just all arrogant.
yeah.
Which is like if they were in their early 20s, like if this was like the first thing out of graduation and everyone's feeling kind of lost in that respect,
Yeah, that would have been ace. That
it would have been
great.
a better, it would have been more believable. Whereas these guys
And
are
the
so
title.
fucking useless.
But then, like, but also the title would have made more sense if
yeah,
it was
because
the first
like, that's
thing
the
out
sort of age where
school
you're really supposed to feel like
without a paddle.
got,
Yeah,
like, I think all of us are actually finally, and it has taken until we're 30, but we are, or approaching 30, but we're all starting to like form lives.
yeah.
We're not totally anchorless, rudderless, like, you know,
It
you're
would
early
have been
20s when you're
great.
like, I have no idea what I'm going to do or who I'm going to be or
Yeah,
what is
like,
important to me.
you could have quite easily had them just be 20s because you have them starting jobs instead of being stuck in them. You have them
Yeah.
starting jobs that they hate in a world that they were promised would be so vibrant and full of life. And then, yeah, you find
Their
out that your friend died.
Yeah, their friend dying would have so much more impact at that age as well.
Yeah, because you'd be like, shit, that's one of those anchors gone.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, having them be like, well, it's been like 4 years and we haven't talked to each other. What happened? Oh, we could have made such a better film. And yeah, it wouldn't just, yeah, it would have made more sense.
So they fall off a waterfall and get eaten by a bear. Not eaten by a bear, but a bear like tracks them
Attacks
down.
them. Well, they do I can't remember if Jurassic Park 3.
Oh god.
Has anyone seen that?
Yeah.
I think it's not a good sign if you ever compare any film to Jurassic Park 3.
No,
Yeah, the
but
phone
it's
in the
got
shit. Yeah.
the same thing, where it's
Yeah.
a satellite phone that gets eaten by X animal,
Yeah.
and then they hear it later on and go, "Oh god, the animal's here." It was the same plot line.
Done.
Also, they do the wrong
Executed
thing for the
perfectly in
bear.
both.
Yeah.
What do you mean they did the wrong thing?
Because they stand up and run away. It's a brown bear, and if it's brown, lie down. And if
Well,
it's
they
black,
tried to do
fight
that,
back.
and then he
They do
eats.
that later.
I mean, to be fair, where this film's set as well, there wouldn't be grizzly bears. There would only be black bears.
What?
Wait, you telling me that there's an idiosyncrasy
you've ruined this film
problem
for me
with this
now.
film?
Sorry,
Inconsistencies
yeah. They
in the
only had-
nature.
They only had a grizzly bear, not a black bear, because if it's black fight back, that's that kind of bear.
Yeah, Black
And then
Bear's
the
a
fetal position thing wouldn't make sense.
don't fucking go near a polar bear.
Yeah, if it's white, you're fucked.
Yeah. If you go near a polar bear, make sure you can run faster than your friend.
Yeah.
That's
They
it.
actually
Takes
make
a-
that joke as well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, I just
Like, I
have
don't have to
run
outrun the
faster
bear.
than
I
you."
have to outrun you.
Yeah. It's like if you ever get attacked by a polar bear, bring your slow friend with you. That's the advice. Yeah, the bear thing.
I've been
is-
going to the
is-
gym recently, but I've not been doing sprints. But
You've not been
if
running
we have to
away
climb
from...
up loads of stairs to get away from the bear,
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't know how good bears do with stairs. Are they quick?
I mean, they can
probably.
climb
You know how
trees.
like when you turn the lights out and you have to like monster run up the stairs when you're
Oh,
a
yeah.
kid.
You
I
hoof
reckon
it.
they do it like that. I don't think they're going up, one
Do you-
hand on the banister,
Do you mean
like a cup of tea in the
monster-
other.
Do you mean monster run like you're running away from a monster, or where you do that thing where you're on all fours?
When you're on all fours. I don't just mean like when I turn my lights out when I was a kid, I'd just scream, arms flailing like I'm running away from a monster to go upstairs.
No, but like it's dark down there. You've got to run up the stairs in
It's
case
scary,
it gets
but that's
you.
why you monster run because it's quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the ground is less far away when you're younger.
Yeah.
I've been doing burpees at the gym recently, and the ground is so far away.
Yeah.
You're just tall. That's all that matters.
I'm not tall. I'm only 5 foot. Actually, I grew. When I went to the doctor's office the other day, I had to have my height and my weight done. Normally, they just ask for my height because I'm an adult and I should know this shit. But I actually decided to do
Measure.
that. Like the scale that they had there was like a scale and height thing at the same time.
Right.
And I've grown 2 centimeters
Nice.
in the last 10 years. So like,
Do
yeah.
you
could've-
think it's
it
because
could've
you shattered
been-
your legs and regrew them?
Maybe.
No,
It could
because I only
also-
broke one.
Maybe you lean.
Maybe a lopsided. It also could have been that your last measurement was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I had it measured. I remember being measured quite a lot because we did it at school quite a bit, and then when I went to different doctors. But then I haven't we'd always get measured, and I think we even did it at university as well. I was measured then.
Why? You did an English degree.
No, it's in because I moved doctors like 3 times
Okay.
because I always
Okay.
changed doctors to be at the one closest because when
No,
you're at
that's
university
fair.
you get sick all the time
It
and
wasn't
you
like
don't want to have you want to be able to basically crawl to the
Yeah.
doctor's surgery.
it wasn't like who's got the same height as this famous author.
And the closest we did to that was when we were learning how to say how tall you were in Russian,
Ah.
which I cannot do. Don't ask me.
Oh, I was just about to.
Numbers are complicated, and
Yeah.
everything is complicated in Russian.
Yeah. This film.
This
Yeah,
film-
so-
there's not a lot of meat to the bones, is there?
No, this film is one where like if you didn't know what to watch and it was on telly, you might be like, yeah, that's fine.
This is
If
a
you're
film
hungover, I
for-
feel like this is one that you could have on and fall asleep in the middle, wake up and be like, all right.
Yeah,
this
like
is
you
a
don't have to
mid-
pay attention much to this film. It is fine.
This is a mid-afternoon film for film.
Yeah.
There's
This
the
is-
bit where they all get soaking wet and they're in their boxes and they have to snuggle up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some
And then
weird
don't they
gay
all wake
jokes
up
in
with
that.
boners?
One
no,
of them does.
Oh, one of them
Jerry
does.
kind
Well,
of is
it's
talking
because-
to.
I was
Dan
sewing
about
at that
the-
point.
It's
so-
because they go to the house. They go to they're trapped in the woods. They're lost in the woods. It's the whole premise of this film.
Yeah.
And they're looking for people, and they find 2 hot women who live
Well,
in this tree house.
sort of before that, they accidentally find a couple of hillbillies that have a massive weed farm as well.
Yeah, they're also like,
and then they start.
Yeah, I was
chasing
thinking,
them.
like, is that one of the oofs that we miss as like British people? Like, because this film is very like not anti-hillbilly, but like, well, very like stereotyping hillbillies.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah,
these are
that's
city
definitely
kids,
an oof.
and I like that. I know that that's definitely a thing, but I guess the closest we have is like Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but is it like all hillbillies are the same, or is it just these two and they call them hill?
Well, they're
They-
supposed to be dumb, trigger-happy criminals.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
It's not good. I remember my dad having to explain to me
What a hillbilly
why they
is.
were like high because the field was on
Ah,
fire.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I was
so-
young. Like I think I must have only been 10 or something when this was on.
so they run away from these weed dealers, weed growers. Field blows up,
Yeah, so they end up chasing after them because they're like wanting to kill them.
and then they escape and they climb into the water and blah blah. And then they're like,
They hide. They pretend to be. They hide in the water with using reeds to breathe,
Yeah.
which is used in something else. Is it Lord of the Rings?
Films. A lot of films do that.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's in Lord of the Rings.
It's like an old cartoon thing, I think. But then you have like it goes to the hillbillies, and they're out in the forest, and we need to find them and kill them.
Yeah, because
Why?
they know about our weed field.
But they never go why.
Yeah, it's only at the end when spoilers when they get captured and they're like, oh, it was actually one of the biggest drug things in the state,
Yeah,
and
but
the
in
sheriff
that
was in on it too.
in that moment, they never kind of explain why.
No, exactly.
Because let's say those people get back to civilization. These people, the main characters, and they go to a police and they're like, "Hey, in the woods somewhere, we don't know where, we were lost.
Yeah,
There's a massive weed farm that we burnt down."
Exactly.
What do you think the police are gonna do?
I feel like when they left, they'd more likely just get in the car and go home.
Yeah, just fucking leave. But these people we need to find them and kill them, and they just cuts away. It's like, why? Why do you need to let them go? They clearly don't care.
And then that's when they find the tree
Three of the
house
girls
with
in
the
the
two like
trees.
hippie girls in it.
Who are
Yeah, so he climbs a really tall tree, really high up.
Yeah.
Much higher up than my friend did, who broke his ankle.
Yeah, he should look out. His friend, after he breaks his ankle, his friend might run and fall over and gently break his ankle. Sorry.
Mean.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry. But yeah, he climbs a tree. They look out, find sexy hippie women.
Yeah, they're tree huggers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're resigning there
and
so it doesn't
butterfly.
get cut down.
yeah. Which I feel like used to happen a lot more than it does.
Well, they cut them all down, didn't they?
That's true. They got the people out and
There's no trees anymore. No.
cut them all down. No, I remember that being a thing that was like a trope that was used a lot in TV and
I
stuff.
remember it in The
Yeah.
Simpsons.
It was in Arrested Development as well.
Yeah, people climbing in a tree. So people don't do that anymore. People don't tie themselves to trees as much anymore or live in
No.
them.
They had a
Also,
pretty
the
good setup.
The tree that they're living in is literally just in the middle of nowhere in this forest. Why is that one specific tree going to get cut down?
I think because it's an old red oak or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the wood's worth a lot of money.
I also imagine like you can't really cut any trees down around it because it might fall on them.
Yeah.
You'd have to be really careful with every tree around it. But in most of the forest you could still get rid of, just not that one.
Yeah, just leave a little patch for the nature.
But they are the most irritating two-dimensional women.
Yeah,
I've
this is
ever
like
seen in film.
it's literally they're a stereotypical wet dream.
Yeah, they're sexy idiots, is what they are. Like that's it. That's their story. That's not mean. That's literally what
Yeah.
their characters are. Like they don't have any.
But they're also a bit gross.
Yeah, because
Well,
they're
yeah.
like using their feet as hands and they have hairy legs. Oh,
It's-
how
Yeah.
weird.
Oh, the horror.
Literally, the only personality traits they have is that they're hippies.
Yeah.
And that's it. They have hairy legs and opposable toes.
And they like
and-
take them in. They're like, yeah, you can come up here, and then like, yeah, well, we'll help you get clean and
Yeah,
dry
Sure,
and
you've
they've
got
got a
shower
radio
and
as
eat
well.
something. We've got a radio.
It's also the kind of thing where they're like, they don't see what they're doing as sexy.
No. Yeah, that weird. That's the idiot part, isn't it? The oblivious part.
Like naive. And there's no reason for these women to be naive. They're adults.
But they have the intelligence of like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And they're so like whimsical. It's like, I guess basically they're trying to imply in an off-camera way that they're incredibly stoned.
Yeah,
but won't go whole hog and just have them smoking loads of weed.
Which is wild. I guess they've already framed the weed as bad. Like it's a weird one. But also, like, I don't know if you've ever met like environmentalists and like extreme ones that protest. They're not fucking idiots.
No.
They're pretty, like, they know what they're talking about.
I don't know. I've met some hippies that sound a bit like that, but they're not the sexy part, just the, like, kind of idiotic.
But not the kind of one...
I'm fighting the cause because I have to fight the cause.
Not the kind of ones
also,
that, like...
government is bad and I smoke a lot of weed. Kind of.
But not the kind of ones that, like, tie themselves to a tree and live in trees.
Yeah.
The people who do that tend to, like, actually know what they're talking about and they have a point to make. It's really weird. But yeah, they don't realise how sexy they are. And then they talk about dancing with the tree.
Oh, they have a big orgasm and the tree is a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it was gross. This scene really ruins the film, to be honest, these characters, because they are just... This is the bit that is offensively bad.
Yeah. There's a real horny part of the film. One-sided horny, though.
And bearing in mind, it's established that all these guys, that two of these guys have partners.
One of them does.
One of them does, yeah.
The other one doesn't.
The doctor doesn't.
And the doctor doesn't.
The sleazebag guy doesn't either.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just Jerry that does.
Just Jerry that does. But they're all like ogling the girls, and the girls don't notice or care.
Yeah.
Which again, like, if they want to make them like sexually liberated, do that. Like, but they need to be aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't empowering in any way.
They aren't like, it's so weird. It's so icky.
And I guess the next part is they shit in paper bags and store it at the top of the tree.
Yeah, because then, so they radio supposedly for help, but it's actually the hillbilly
For some
guys
reason.
that...
For some reason, they didn't check who they were radioing.
No. So then they come to attack them at the tree, and so the girls throw bags of shit at them as a distraction while the guys escape in their underwear.
Well, they're trying to, like, cut down the tree.
Yeah, they've got a chainsaw, and they're on
so they're
bikes
also like,
as well.
Yeah, they have one tiny chainsaw for this massive oak tree.
They panicked like it was going to go down really quickly.
Yeah, like that's a day's work.
We got time.
But then, it's that they kind of escape for a bit, and then that's when it starts raining, and they have to huddle in the cave. And then
a weird homophobia bit.
Yeah, like the three of them are spooning, and Jerry is essentially talking to Dan, the doctor guy, and being like, "Oh, it's raining. Imagine those girls are probably dancing naked right now," so that he gets a boner and pokes the other guy.
Yeah,
that's the whole scene.
The fact
it's
that,
a real mature joke for a group of 30-year-olds.
But the fact
30.
Well, we know emotionally stunted 30-year-olds. The fact that they won't even like touch each other when they're shirtless is fucking weird.
Yeah.
The fact that they're like, ew, no.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like touching people, but I would if it was like a life or death situation.
Yeah, in that scenario, you're not like, wow, this is too sexy. Like, what are you afraid of happening? You just be like, fuck it. It literally doesn't matter right now. We're in the woods.
Yeah,
they just want on their tombstone, died straight.
Yeah. God forbid someone might turn up and think we're gay. And then guess what fucking happens?
3 guys adventuring in the woods. 30
what
feet
could
apart
happen?
Because we're not gay.
What could happen? They might kiss.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the worst thing in the world does happen. Some guy turns up and thinks they're gay. And keeps referring to them as perverts.
Yeah.
Which is weird, considering it's pretty heavily implied that dude was like in love with DB Cooper. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't... part of me was like, am I getting sort of Brokeback Mountain vibes, or am I getting...
Which is a much more interesting film of having DB Cooper land somewhere in the woods and fall in love with a woodsman. That's such a good film.
And he never knows if he's there for his money or if it's genuine love, or is he even gay?
Oh yeah, and the woodsman is like a little bit homophobic. Oh, that'd be such a
Another
good film.
better film than Without a Paddle.
Another much better film. But yeah, he turns up. He's just a woodsman guy.
Yeah, it turns out he was like working with DB Cooper and had been trying to track him down but never found him.
Yeah.
And so just lived in the woods for 30 years.
They were husbands. I don't care. They're partners in every sense of the word. But yeah,
You don't wait around for a mate that long.
No. He keeps referring to them as perverts, though. He's like, oh, you very rarely find 3 perverts in the woods. They were hugging together. Also, like, even if they were fucking, that's not perverts.
Yeah, it's a very, I mean, even dated for 2004, to be honest, conflation of perversion and homosexuality, which are not the same thing.
Considering as well that, like, it heavily implied that the 2 women sleep together. That's
yeah, but that's fine because they're sexy, apart from their unshaved legs.
But
and their poo
yeah,
bags.
that's what I mean. But their messaging is so confusing because it's like they're sexy, but also not. But also, yeah, they are. But also, they don't stand to like normal society, so they're not. But they also, it's heavily implied that they sleep with each other, which is fine for when the sexy tree girls do it. Perverted when the men possibly do it. Perverted when the men fucking touch each other. It's a problem.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It is bonkers to think how that... But that was sort of the attitude at the time as well.
Yeah, that was fully it.
Like, would you want a gay man teaching at your school? Teaching your kids at your school? No, he's a pervert. It's like, well, don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, let's hope that doesn't come back.
Yeah, hopefully
completely
not.
Fine that you're constantly doing the Catholic shit, though.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no worries about that coming back right now. Not like anyone's talking about what's being taught in schools and... Anyway, it's very rare you get it in films one after another, though. Very rarely do you get, like, objectification of like, lesbianism and then the sort of vile reaction to being gay. You very rarely get that in canon.
I mean, the other show that does that is Friends.
Yeah.
Very, very much does that.
Have you been watching Friends?
No,
or did
I
you just
watched it ages ago.
Okay, cool.
Is it burned into your memory?
I mean, just vague bits of it, yeah.
Yeah.
She should have stayed on the plane. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know who else should have stayed on the plane? DB Cooper. He wouldn't be
Cooper
dead in a mine shaft.
Fucking stayed on the plane.
Yeah,
they
escape.
escape.
Get shot at. Yeah, the hut gets shot at. They escape, fall into a mine. Well, they're like, oh, there's iron in the hills, so it's throwing off our compass.
Yeah.
That means we've been looking in the wrong place the whole time, and then they fall into a mine shaft and find DB Cooper's dead body, like, straight away.
Again, like, the main guy that, like, works that out, at no other point in the film is he seen as, like, is he shown as being, like, a good woodsman.
No.
But suddenly he's like, oh yeah, it throws off compasses. What? What? He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't do any other, like, here's how we work out to get around the forest.
No, there's no kind of point in his backstory where you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason he knows that.
Like,
No,
they
he
make
just...
jokes about how inept they all are.
Yeah, he's like, oh, the iron throws off the What?
Unless the job that he was at before had something to do with that, but I don't think
marketing.
It
was a marketing company, I
Yeah.
think.
Would have made way
They
more
sold
sense
compasses.
But yeah, they find that DB Cooper had fallen in the. It was like snowy, so that's why he was never found.
Yeah.
But surprise, he'd actually burnt all the money just to stay alive. And life is more important than money. Who knew?
Yeah, wow.
Money does help, though.
A fucking sledgehammer of a response. Guess
just like the Little Match Girl.
Yeah. Guess what
the Little Match Girl was actually DB Cooper the whole time.
No one would let him come in at Christmas.
So he hijacked a plane, stole loads of money, and died.
Yep. That's the story of the Little Match Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they find DB Cooper's skeleton. And
but also then some cash?
Well, burnt cash.
It's only burnt cash.
Because they...
And then to get out, they can't climb up, so they have to send Dan through a small mine shaft because he's the smallest one, and they...
which earlier he mentioned that he's afraid of small spaces.
Yeah.
Yep. So we've just got a little bit of exposure therapy.
Yeah. Yep. So while he's climbing through, he's singing "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" by Culture Club because that's his kind of comfort song.
Because earlier on in the film, he's like, "Wow, it relaxes me," is what he says when they're playing it.
Yeah.
And they also called the song gay. It's fucking weird.
They're all singing it, and the hillbillies are walking up and start hearing it, and they're like, "The hills have gone gay."
The thing is, like, the main characters also call the song gay earlier on. And it's like, who are
And they mean gay as in bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a culture club. It might have both meanings.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
like,
yeah. But it's not hard, manly music, which I guess would be about trucks and beer.
And dick. But, like, it doesn't frame the bad guys as bad when they say that. It's like, it's a joke. Because that's how the main guys react, how the good guys react to it.
Well, that used to be something being gay used to be the butt of a joke.
Oh, yeah, no, it's normal, but it was just really weird to be like, oh, yeah, if the villains say it, then it's like, oh, they're bad, but it's a joke. But, like, yeah, no, everyone... And the main joke that I liked in that, though, was when they said, oh, it's gone gay, and it's like, no, it's Culture Club. I had a new wave era. I had a new wave phase. That's a solid joke.
Yeah.
That good joke.
Yeah. I think it is a film where you can count the good jokes on one hand.
Oh, yeah. You don't even need that. You've got spare
I was going to say
room.
potentially 1 to 2 fingers. I laughed at bits of it, but I can't now. They didn't have any staying power.
No, there's like quick jokes. But yeah, guy gets out, and then they find out the main guy, the evil guy, the hillbillies go, haha, we've got you trapped.
Yeah, so Dan hits them with a log and they fall in the mine and just all start fighting each other.
Well,
and then the sheriff shows up and it turns out the sheriff is bad too.
Well, one of the hillbillies has a grenade and is like, can I throw it in the hole to kill them?
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
No.
Don't throw a grenade in a hole that you're stood over.
That's a mine shaft. It will
That's
just
a mine
collapse.
shaft. Yeah, it will collapse a lot of the forest. Don't do that.
I don't know. Grenades aren't that powerful. They're actually more effective in a small space anyway.
That's what I mean, like a contained space that is very unstable. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, the little guy knocks them in. The doctor knocks them in. They have a fight. Again, the other good jokes. The doctor picks up a grenade and goes, "Look what I found!" And they all go, "No,
Yeah.
no." That's a good joke. That's a good joke in like a funny fight sequence. And yeah, sheriff turns up, is a bad guy.
Yeah, owns the weed farms.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, they work for me. Anyway, we're gonna shoot you off the edge.
Yeah.
And he's like, and what people will just they won't even like bother looking for you because you got lost in your idiots got the city boys that got lost in the woods.
Which, to be fair, yeah.
Yep. The hillbillies could have done nothing, and these guys would have probably died anyway.
Yeah. 100%. But
They
yeah,
deserved to die.
They did. But they pick up the grenade, and the Matthew Lillard's like, "I could leave because I care more about my friends."
Yeah,
He explains
He
the
like
moral
wants
of
to sacrifice himself, but they just don't get the hint, and that was quite funny.
Yeah, and they run over and like huddle around him too.
Yeah, he explains the moral of the film.
Yeah.
If you haven't got it yet.
Oh yeah, no, it really rams down the end down your throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
then-
really saccharine.
Yeah. Then they're like, "Oh, he has a grenade," and they start arguing, just everyone shouting, and one of the hillbillies is like, "That's my grenade."
Yeah. But he
Knocks
throws
it out
and
of his hand.
Yeah, it goes off and then just blows up a tree, and the tree crushes the bad guys.
Yeah, it's that simple of an ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
they're
They get
magically
splattered.
out of the forest.
Yeah. Yes, right. They don't leave. There's no one.
I mean, the sheriff had to get his car there somehow, so there's probably a road.
How long has the sheriff been in the woods?
Yeah.
Because by the
I guess
looks
it's
of it,
different. Being in the woods when you know where you are and you know where you're going is very different to sort of wandering aimlessly. Like they could have been going around in circles and covered like the same like 5-mile space.
That's true. I guess you tie up the sheriff and you go, "How do we get out of here?"
Hmm.
Because if not, we starving.
Yeah. But yeah,
But they get back.
They get out, and then the mountain
It's-
man gives them the parachute
bag.
of DB Cooper, and there was actually some cash in there, so they get 100
They
grand.
just didn't bother looking.
No. And the mountain guy's just like, "Yeah, I'm going to give him a proper burial. I've got his bones in my backpack."
Gay. They're
Hmm.
gay.
Right.
It's gay. It's gay. That's not something like guys do. That's gay.
But also Jerry has realised the importance of life and is like, "I don't want my share of the money."
I don't need. Why does he do that?
Because he's like, "I have
He
a
can-
good enough life anyway, I don't need it," and also...
He can have both.
Yeah. Like,
You can do both.
Danny's like, I know I'm fine too. I owe you the money.
We made
Tom.
a bet, yeah.
We made a bet, and so Tom gets 100 grand because he's a gambling addict, and this isn't gonna go well.
Yeah.
Therapy. They all need therapy.
Hopefully he's
Also,
learned
how
not
is
to
how
gamble.
is Jerry's relationship going to go down? Like, oh yeah, so good. You know, I know I went away and I wasn't really dealing with it. I just want to know, I really love and appreciate you. Also, I found
Now.
100 grand in the woods, but don't worry, I
I
gave
said
it all
no.
away
Yeah.
to our friend that you don't like.
Yeah, I said no to my misogynistic and gave it all to my misogynistic gambling addict
Sleazeball.
friend.
Yeah.
Because
Because I love you, babe.
I gave it away to my friend. The doctor? No.
No, don't worry. The doctor's sleeping with 2 girls we found in
The
the
doctor's
woods.
in the woods now.
What?
Only one of the girls he's sleeping with,
Yeah.
because the other one is barely a person. Only one of them is given a personality.
And Tom also leads the Boy Scouts now, so he can actually train kids how to survive in the woods, because he did such a good job of it.
It is implied that when he's telling that story, he has no money left, because he says he has that job earlier. So it does kind of imply that he's lost all the money,
Yeah.
which kind of shits in the face of the whole film, really. The whole point is they learn a lesson. He learned nothing.
Well, I guess he learns that he has to earn his own money.
Well, they're
Support
like,
his gambling addict.
he's like, oh, I have no luck. His family
Also,
curse
hang
that
on.
is brought up every now and then from his abusive dad. It's so strange.
It was 100 grand in 1970s money, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
That's going to be worth way more at that time.
Not
It's-
if it's notes. That's not
Yeah,
how
it's
money
not-
works.
Oh,
It's not been sat in a bank account accruing interest.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
It's also,
That's how money goes up in value.
What's also like really important and like a key part of the DB Cooper case is all of the money that they handed over was tracked. Like the government, he didn't just steal it from people in the plane. He had it as like a heist from the government, and the government like made a note of all of the serial numbers and tracked it all. And the thing with DB Cooper is none of that money was ever used. Like it
Yeah.
never came up again. That's like the
Well,
big
maybe
mystery,
maybe he got 100 grand, but he actually ended up with like a 50 grand finder's fee
right?
from the government
Yeah,
or something.
because that just
Like,
means
I guess the boring part of what you do when you find money, they didn't
But-
bother filming.
But it's like as soon as he spends it, the FBI's turning up and being like, "Where the fuck?"
Do you think they're still tracking it then?
100, like not actively, but I
Yeah, I
imagine
feel
there's
like if
like a
any of
warning
that money
system.
actually showed up, they would be like, hang on, where did this come from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I guess a big conversation to be had about what he did.
Hmm.
But he wouldn't technically be the owner of the money because it's technically stolen money. It goes back to the government.
It's complicated though, isn't it? Because
It
they
is.
find it after that length of time.
I
I don't
think
know.
quite-
It's like that's one of those things like finder's fees and how like that all works varies massively even within the United States.
if it was like an insignificant amount of money, but like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's 100 grand out of however much he stole in the first place.
Yeah. I just think it's really funny that a very key part, a big part of the DB Cooper case is that the money was never found.
Yeah.
Like the money
Yeah.
was never used in the system. That they kind of just went, not that bit. We will use DB Cooper, but like not that bit.
I mean, I guess the burning the money thing is part of that as well.
Yeah.
But
But they just kind of forgot the big bit of the myth. The reason it's a mystery to begin with
yeah,
is
I mean, they studied it as kids. They probably didn't actually have that much information.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
No, I meant like the film. The film just
Yeah,
kind
the
of
film writers.
shrugs.
Yeah, they
at,
gloss
like,
over that.
"We
But at the same time, maybe it's safe to assume that if they bought enough stuff with cash or gambled enough of it with cash, it might not
You'd have
come
to
to
find
the like. It might not be significant enough for the.
in the system. Yeah,
It'll
that's
just
true.
take too long to get pinged because it might be literally until that money gets deposited into a bank and processed that it would come up.
That's true.
Because 2004 was not the cashless society we have now.
No, that is true. I just think it's quite funny that it's a pretty important part of the mythos around DB Cooper.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess
man.
how do we launder this money is probably not.
That's
Like-
without Paddle 2. Without a paddle 2, the logistics of how they launder.
Unfortunately, without a paddle 2, Nature's Calling claims only to be wilder, hotter, and nuttier.
Oh, do they? So do they go to like a jungle in where's a hot country that has a jungle? Like a lot of them I know, but my brain Africa. They go to Africa. My brain's a bit fried.
Ben and Zach are childhood friends who reunite years later to take part in an unusual quest that involves travelling into the woods in search of Ben's high school sweetheart.
Oh.
Did he bury
They are joined by their British rival, Nigel.
Oh, fuck yeah. Why is it always Nigel? Why is it always Nigel?
And the stakes get higher and the squirrels turn hostile. Hapless trio attempt to navigate a raging river while realising sometimes nature isn't all it's cracked up to be.
That sounds so bad.
Oh, Entertainment Weekly called it the most unnecessary sequel ever.
Oh, how naive of Entertainment Weekly for what was to come.
I know, right? They've never seen The Boy 2 Brahms Part 2 Brahms again.
Well, like a lot of
Ryan Keir of DVD Talk gave it half a star out of 5. Recommended viewers skip it.
Nice. That sounds like right up our alley. Bonus episodes like really covered good, for this week.
That sounds like a good segue. What are you giving this out of 10?
Out of 10, I think I'd go like it's the most mid film that hasn't aged too well, so like a 4.
Yeah, I was going to say 4.
Yeah, it's like mid quality, but like lowered down because of the few fucking weird scenes to.
It's really the rampant misogyny and homophobia. It's kind of, it's not so much, like, yes, it's of its time, but in like a very depressing way. You really, that used to be acceptable.
Yeah, you can't just like shrug it off as like it's a offhand thing. It's so like, it's so casual that it's throughout the entire film.
It's not like that one gay joke in Teen Wolf where you're like, that was in poor taste, but
gay joke. That was a straight up slur.
Yeah, sorry,
was straight up a slur.
It doesn't make it okay, but it's one. It was basically a one-off. Whereas this whole film is laced.
Yeah, because that's just how it was at the time. You're like, oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I'd give this a 4. 4 seconds of Homelander on screen. It was, like I say, it was a all right watch. Like, didn't have to concentrate too hard on it. I could see why you could follow it while sewing.
Yeah, it's incredibly mid.
Yeah, like it's what you would expect out of a basic mid-2000s comedy.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't a joy to half watch. To be fair, it felt like a chore.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, which was surprising because I really thought this was going to be like watching an Adam Sandler movie from the same time.
Yeah, it has like Adam Sandler.
It's Adam Sandler light
vibe. Yeah, but like the light also, but much like Drinks of the Light, it doesn't have all the shit that normally goes in. It has a different kind of shit that like is sometimes not quite as bad. You kind of try and convince yourself that the extra stuff they put in to make up for the stuff they take out is better.
Just about.
Yeah.
I'd give this a 3 bear shits with phones in.
Yeah.
I think the Jurassic Park 3.
Yep.
You're giving this Jurassic Park 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for 4 DB Coopers. 4 DB Cooper love interests. Out of 10.
I would watch that film though. DB Cooper, Woodland Lovers.
But like kind of sad, kind of like a tense romance between two men.
I guess what it could be is like this man, maybe he's writing a letter or something to DB Cooper.
Yeah.
And it's going through like flashback, and it's all going through the relationship from before he does this heist, maybe where they're arguing about it, planning it. And then it goes through, like right up until the point where he's like waiting, and then this is what he's leaving there just in case, even though he knows DB Cooper's dead. It's like the just in case he does turn up.
Yeah,
he can't let it go. But then he's like, that's enough. So when he gets to the end of the letter, which is the film, he like puts it in an envelope and leaves it in the spot, and then moves on with his life.
He can't fully admit to himself that DB Cooper is dead yet. He has to. It's a full, very tense, quite sad romance.
With like same sort of Brokeback Mountain vibes of like beautiful scenery.
Oh yeah, it'd be a beautifully shot film, and like it lit incredibly. and the acting would have to be top tier.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, we know how much Helena wants a movie that features more mountain. So.
More mountain. There's not enough mountains in this film.
Yeah, just a lot of trees.
It was pretty in that respect.
Yeah.
We'll call the film Mountain.
It was all filmed in New Zealand, apparently.
Just Mountain.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Much like Lord of the Rings.
Much like Lord of the Rings, it's about three blokes that go on an adventure
Yeah.
to do something with a treasure.
A much lower budget. And then along their adventure, they do learn some things about themselves. One of
Sexy
them
hippie in a
dies.
tree.
Yeah.
No, they
Bells.
cut Tom Bombadil out of the movies.
I don't think he was ever sexy.
That's the joke. I don't know, I've not read the books. Anyway, with that terrible
really
analogy.
sexy. I don't think any character in Lord of the Rings is ever described as sexy.
What?
Aragorn.
Arwen? Arwen, Aragorn.
Explicitly.
Eowyn for a bit.
Explicitly described as sexy. J.R. Tolkien
suppose
wasn't sat there going, Aragorn was fucking hot.
Yeah, no, I suppose in the books they wouldn't be, because, like, there was that cartoon adaptation first as well, and,
Yeah.
yeah, Aragorn is,
Yeah. He's not
I think he's
hot.
supposed to be just kind of, he's weathered.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like an old weathered guy, and that says a lot about you more than anything else. But
No.
he's not explicitly
Aragorn is hot. Like
he's-
that's not a hot take. That is
Rip.
very
by the
agreed upon.
description of like he's not like J.R. Tolkien, as much as he describes literally everything that exists at any time at any point in history, I can't imagine he ever describes Aragorn's pecs when he takes off his shirt. Like I don't think he goes into that kind of detail.
And as Gandalf reappeared as Gandalf the White, he was looking fucking lit.
Honestly,
His highlights were on point.
just going into way too much description about the men in Lord of the Rings. Hyper detailed description of like their chest hair.
Hmm.
Gets a bit romance novel for a bit.
I think that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, I've been Dan.
I've been Michael. I want sexy Lord of the Rings.
There's definitely like
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
plenty
called Game...
of literature out there
It's-
for you, Michael.
It's called Game of Thrones. We've been through this.
I've been Helena.
Well, you can find this podcast on social media at Hilton Pod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord as well if you want to come and tell us about how sexy the Lord of the Rings characters are.
Yep.
Who's your favourite Lord of the Rings character?
And why is he so
Goodbye.
sexy?
And why is it Aragorn?
We also have a Patreon where you can support the show, get bonus episodes, and I'm really worried about what we're going to do for the Patreon.
What do you
I
mean?
think we're going to have a life-changing experience with
Yeah, we're gonna-
adventure.
Oh wait, no, we're sending your money to that Nigerian prince that Helena knows.
Nah, so what you'd be expecting is like, oh, we're going to use the money to go on a life-changing adventure, or oh, we're going to use the money to make those two better films we described.
No, can we use the
That's
money
not
to heist a plane
No.
and jump out with a parachute?
You're gonna use the money to do a DV Cooper, which like doesn't make any sense because we just have the money.
Yeah. You go on the plane. No, you need money to make more money. You guys go on the
Exactly.
plane. I'm going to wait in the woods and get real sad when you don't turn up.
Okay.
No, what I actually want to do with the money is I want to hire someone that can write identically to J.R. Tolkien, and I want to get them to rewrite Lord of the Rings word for word, apart from making it a lot more gay and a lot more romance. But I want it to be in the exact indistinguishable style. I want you to read it and go, this might actually have been a hidden Tolkien book. That's what I want. That's what I want to do with the money. I want
I
to
think that's
create
money well spent.
hot gay Lord of the Rings.
I think people would be foolish not to subscribe.
Right? That's a worthy thing to do.
Word
And I
of course,
imagine
definitely.
if we give it away for free when it's done, his
That's an
estate
investment
can't do
in
anything about
culture.
it. Yeah, his estate can't do anything about it.
No, exactly.
We're not
Especially if
breaking
Gollum
copyright.
still wants it raw and wriggling.
It's just fucking. I want such a hot description of Gollum.
Yeah, can he have real... I was going to say twink energy, but I think the Hobbits have that covered.
He has no. Yeah, he has twink energy.
Cold
No.
but hot.
He
That's
has,
my next D&D character.
Oh, what's it called?
what's
Fry
it from?
cook energy. He has fry cook energy. But like describing Gollum's abs would be fucking reading that fucking incredible. Look, he
Yeah,
must be ripped.
Yeah, I mean, he has a very
He does
good.
a lot of
He's
climbing.
very active.
Yeah.
He eats a lot of
He's
protein.
got a good core.
And then maybe at some point down the road we make a film out of it. But that's for a future episode of Patreon running.
Yeah, we're kind of doing the 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, but explicitly.
But
Like,
yeah.
explicitly about us film. Same style as well. We need to get someone that can direct in the exact same style as that director.
It was Peter Jackson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'll do it again, right?
He might do gay.
If not, we can
That's
get
what it's
Guillermo
called, by
del
the
Toro
way.
on board. He wanted to do the Hobbit
Fuck
first.
yes. No, that'd be
Oh,
incredible.
that would be good vibes. Very
Guillermo del
good vibes.
Toro just willingly, he'd be on board. He'd be like, fuck yeah, I don't see a problem with this.
Cool.
But then
We
he'd be
get-
like, "Can I make it spooky?" And we're like, "No, just sexy."
We'll be like, a little bit. Which bits do you want to make spooky?
Get an
He'd be like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
the
fine.
fucking
Yeah, the
Dementors.
Nazgul, but they're in like
Um,
BDSM gear.
the Nazgul, but every now and then the cloak lifts up and you see the like midriff remote.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you're like, oh, it's a bit surprised.
Yeah, you'd sort of think that they had straps over the leather armor, but no, it's just leather straps.
Yeah. It's just neat. And they're ripped.
Oh yeah.
They're like ripped and oiled up. And you're like, oh, actually that affects you a bit more than you're expecting.
And like Aragorn, like they're fighting, and like Aragorn like rips the shirt, and then like raises his eyebrows, and they're like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's like
no,
distracted for a second.
the fights are so hot.
Yeah, and it's one of those
Not-
like if another time, another place.
Yeah, not in like a they're about to have sex kind of way, but in like a, oh, there's a lot of homoerotic. I want Lord of the Rings with more homoerotic undertones.
So kind
and
of
also,
Troy-esque.
yeah, but with like
But gayer.
overtones as well every now and
Yeah.
then. Yeah, but explicit every now
Yeah.
and then.
Well, a less subtle Troy.
Yeah. And like everyone
Gay
gets
Lord
to
of the
be
Rings.
sexy. Everyone.
I think we've got the pitch pretty much sorted, so we
Let's
can
go
probably
into-
finish it there.
Go up to the family estate and be like, look, we have the next big thing. It's Lord of the Rings, but sexy, and they're like, that's just Game of Thrones. You're like, no.
No.
You don't
No.
understand, my guy.
It's in the same style as Lord of the Rings. It's not more violent. It's not more deaths. It's high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, sexy, and overtly gay.
And
Huh.
when we release the extended cut, it has a winky face after it says extended cut.
Oh no, we just call it uncut.
Hmm. End it, Dan.
Yeah, I'm still being recording.
Did you mean the recording or just in general?
Right, ready to sync?
Oh no.
This week we're watching Titanic. I don't think any of us loved Titanic. Anyway, right.
I hate that scene in the beginning where they all get cut in half.
Maybe we should do Titanic.
Why?
Because the animation's really funny at the start.
What? Yeah, that's true. What would you mean where they all get cut in half?
Yeah.
Where the it's like the long shots of the boat that are supposed to be really beautiful, and it's just little. It looks like little Monopoly piece or Ludo pieces sort of bumbling around, done on like Scratch Animator.
Which is wild because they built that set. They built a huge boat.
Yeah, they built
Yeah.
the boat that dies.
The Boat That Dies is my favourite film about dangerous radio stations.
That's one we should do, actually. That was good.
What, The Boat That Rocked?
Yeah.
Yeah. I may have met the people that film's about.
Nice.
Ooh.
May have. I don't know.
How do you meet a boat? I thought you just got on them.
Well,
No,
it
before
really
you get on, you
depends.
have to say hello.
Yeah. You say hello to the boat.